Did you know that one of the most printed books in history isn't a novel, but a small red political handbook? Today, we're exploring quotations from Chairman Mao Tse-tung, famously known as the Little Red Book, a book that shaped a nation and influenced millions. But what exactly is inside this powerful little book? And why did it become so important? Let's find out. Introduction. Published in 1964, this book is a collection of selected quotes and speeches by Mao Zedong, the leader of the Chinese Communist Revolution and founding figure of modern China. During the Cultural Revolution, millions of copies were printed and distributed across China. Citizens, especially students and soldiers, were encouraged to carry it and study it daily. It is not a storybook. It is not a novel. It is a political and ideological guide. The book is divided into short chapters, each focusing on themes such as the Communist Party, class struggle, war and peace, youth and discipline, self-reliance. Each page contains short, direct, slogan-like statements. For example, one of Mao's famous ideas emphasizes that real strength lies with the people. The tone is motivational, confident, and revolutionary. Because the quotations are short and powerful, they were designed to be memorized and repeated. This book became a symbol of the Cultural Revolution in China between 1966 and 1976. It influenced political thought not only in China, but also in parts of Asia, Africa, and Europe. For many, it represented unity and revolutionary spirit. For others, it symbolized strict political control and one-sided ideology. Regardless of perspective, its historical influence is undeniable. The book contains 33 short thematic chapters made up of quotations. Summary of each chapter. Chapter 1. The Communist Party. This chapter emphasizes the central role of the Communist Party as the guiding force of the revolution and the nation. Mao presents the party as the leadership core that must remain disciplined, united, and closely connected to the people. According to the quotations, the party exists to serve the masses rather than rule over them for personal power. Mao stresses ideological purity, meaning members must remain committed to Marxist, Leninist principles and avoid corruption or selfish ambition. Party unity is presented as essential. Internal disagreements should be resolved through criticism and self-criticism rather than division. The chapter repeatedly highlights that without strong leadership, revolutionary goals cannot succeed. The idea of democratic centralism appears throughout. Discussion may occur internally, but once a decision is made, unity in action is required. Loyalty to the party is portrayed as loyalty to the revolution and to the people. Overall, this chapter defines the party as both the brain and backbone of the revolutionary movement, responsible for guiding society towards socialism. Chapter 2. Classes and Class Struggle. This chapter focuses on the belief that society is divided into different economic and social classes whose interests often conflict. Mao argues that class struggle continues even after a revolution succeeds. According to his view, removing old systems does not automatically remove old thinking. The quotations encourage constant awareness of inequality and the influence of former ruling classes. Mao suggests that revolutionary vigilance is necessary to prevent a return to oppressive systems. This section strongly reflects Marxist theory, emphasizing workers and peasants as the driving force of history. The idea presented is that social change occurs through struggle between opposing class interests. In summary, the chapter underlines the importance of recognizing social divisions and maintaining commitment to equality and socialist transformation. Chapter 3. Serving the people. One of the most widely known themes, this chapter emphasizes selflessness and dedication to public welfare. Mao states that all actions of the party and its members should aim to benefit the people. The quotations promote humility, sacrifice, and hard work. Leaders are encouraged to listen to the masses and avoid arrogance. Service is presented not as charity, but as duty. This chapter promotes moral discipline and responsibility, portraying revolutionary work as meaningful only when it improves ordinary lives. Chapter 4: Self-Reliance and Hard Struggle. This chapter encourages independence and perseverance. Mao promotes the idea that a nation must rely primarily on its own efforts rather than depending on outside assistance. Hard work, discipline, and resilience are emphasized. Difficulties are described as opportunities for growth rather than reasons for discouragement. The overall message is that determination and collective effort lead to long-term strength. Chapter 5: War and Peace. Mao discusses Revolutionary War as a political struggle. He emphasizes preparation, strategy, and the importance of popular support. The quotations suggest that armed struggle is sometimes viewed as necessary within revolutionary ideology, but always guided by political goals rather than personal ambition. This chapter blends military thought with political theory, stressing unity between soldiers and civilians. Chapter 6: Youth. Youth are described as energetic, hopeful, and essential to the future of the nation. Mao encourages young people to study, remain disciplined, and commit themselves to national service. The chapter highlights education combined with practical experience. Youth are portrayed as both learners and builders of society. Chapter 7: Discipline and Unity. This chapter stresses order, cooperation, and loyalty. Mao argues that collective success requires personal discipline. Unity is presented as strength, while division weakens progress. The practice of criticism and self-improvement is encouraged to maintain harmony. Chapter 8: Criticism and Self-Criticism. Mao presents self-reflection as necessary for growth. Members should openly acknowledge mistakes and correct them. This process is described as strengthening the party and preventing corruption or stagnation. Chapter 9: Education and Culture. Education is portrayed as a tool for ideological development and national progress. Mao emphasizes aligning culture with revolutionary values. Learning is encouraged not only in theory, but in practical service to society. Chapter 10: Leadership. Leadership, according to Mao, requires responsibility, moral integrity, and closeness to the people. True leaders are those who work alongside citizens rather than above them. Quotations from Chairman Mao Tse-tung is a curated compilation of statements extracted from Mao Zedong's speeches and writings between the 1920s and early 1960s. Officially assembled under the direction of Lin Biao for distribution within the People's Liberation Army, the text later became a central ideological instrument during the Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976. Rather than functioning as a continuous philosophical treatise, the book is structured as a thematic anthology of brief aphoristic statements. Its purpose is didactic and ideological, to consolidate Maoist thought, promote revolutionary discipline, and unify political consciousness under a shared framework of socialist doctrine. The publication emerged during a period of political consolidation in the People's Republic of China. Following the Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 1962, which resulted in economic and social instability, Mao sought to reaffirm ideological commitment within the Communist Party and the broader population. The text gained extraordinary prominence during the Cultural Revolution, when it became both a symbolic and practical guide for political behavior. Citizens, particularly students organized as Red Guards, were encouraged to study and publicly quote the text. From a historical standpoint, the book represents not merely literature, but a state-sponsored mechanism for ideological mobilization. Theoretical foundations. The ideological basis of the book is rooted in Marxism-Leninism, adapted to Chinese social and political conditions. Several theoretical elements dominate the text. Continuous revolution. Mao advances the argument that class struggle persists even after socialist transformation. This extends classical Marxist theory by asserting that ideological threats can re-emerge within socialist society itself. A central principle emphasized throughout the quotations is the mass line, which promotes leadership that learns from and serves the people. The idea suggests a reciprocal relationship. Leaders gather ideas from the masses, refine them through theory, and return them as policy. National independence and internal strength are recurring themes. Mao frames self-reliance as both economic strategy and moral virtue. Collective cohesion is portrayed as essential to revolutionary success. Internal criticism is permitted but must ultimately strengthen unity rather than create division. The book's format significantly contributes to its influence. Its defining stylistic characteristics include concise aphorisms, repetition of key ideological principles, simplified language accessible to broad audiences, moral clarity, and assertive tone. The brevity of each quotation allows for memorization and recitation. This structural simplicity enhances portability and pedagogical effectiveness. From a rhetorical perspective, the language functions as motivational discourse rather than analytical philosophy. It emphasizes certainty, clarity, and collective purpose. Beyond China, the book influenced political movements in parts of Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America during the 1960s and 1970s. Revolutionary groups adopted Maoist rhetoric, particularly the emphasis on peasant mobilization and anti-imperialism. Its global circulation reflects the transnational impact of ideological literature during the Cold War period. Quotations from Chairman Mao Tse-tung is best understood as an ideological manual rather than a conventional literary work. Its importance lies not in narrative complexity, but in historical function and political symbolism. Academically, it offers insight into Maoist political theory, mechanisms of ideological dissemination, the relationship between literature and state power, revolutionary rhetoric in the 20th century. As a historical document, it remains one of the most influential political texts of the modern era.